You don't have to travel to Amsterdam to get on your bike. Check out Tommy Bow's short getaway closer to home.
This week I'm in County Down to check out the sights around Strangford Lough and the Ards Peninsula. But I've decided to leave the car behind. I'm going to go for a bit of pedal power instead.
First things first, I'm meeting cycle guide Hugo McElveen and my fellow cyclists in Belfast to pick up my wheels.
Hugo, how are you? Nice to meet you. Well, what have you got in store for me today?
Well, today we're going to cycle around Strangford. We're going to leave Belfast. We're going to head down through Daft Eddies, through Killalay, down to Downpatrick, back across on the ferry and back into Belfast, working our way up through the Ards Peninsula. Okay,
let's go. Got my bike, helmet and water. I'm ready to roll.
Undeterred by the rain, we begin our journey on the 7-mile Comber Greenway. It's part of the National Cycle Network, taking us along an old railway line closed in the 1950s.
What's great is that within a few minutes of leaving Belfast, we're on a traffic-free path. Right guys, we keep going. Let's go.
Once you leave Comber, the scenery begins to change as we head down the path along the west coast of Strangford Lough.
We're 20 miles outside of Belfast on Sketrick Island. I think it's time for a bit of lunch.
Guarding the entrance to the island is Sketrick Castle, a remnant of the Anglo-Norman conquest of Ireland. We've worked up quite an appetite there, so this is my favourite bit, to get to rest the legs, a bit of lunch and get ourselves ready for this afternoon. Cheers, guys. And it's here I get my first glimpse over the waters of Strangford Lough. Back on the track, we continue our cycle south towards the colourful and historic village of Killalay, whose castle is a key landmark here.
The castle was built in the 12th century and is one of the oldest inhabited castles in Ireland. But I love the local legend that Mr. Walt Disney was a huge fan of Killalay. It's not hard to see why.
In the mid-19th century, the castle was redesigned by Sir Charles Lanyon to resemble a French chateau from the Loire Valley, and it's known locally as Killalay's jewel in the crown. The last leg of our first day cycling takes us to the village of Strangford, where we are hopping on board the ferry to cross the lough. So Hugo, we're halfway on the ferry to Portaferry. How long is this going to take?
The ferry journey itself takes 10 minutes. So we've covered 40 miles, which is pretty much what we do in a day. And then we're just going to head over here and have a bit of a rest and get our strength built up again.
Yeah, I think I need it now. It's been great fun so far, but it tires the legs out.
Oh, it does, it does. That's why we stick to around about 40 a day.
The ferry drops us off at the town of Portaferry, a popular stop-off for tourists and home to the recently renovated Explorus Aquarium. Accommodation is at the Portaferry Hotel, which dates back to the 1700s. It's been recently refurbished and each of its 14 bedrooms is individually decorated. Dinner and accommodation are included in the price. "20 minutes east of Portaferry is Kearney Village, which in the 19th century was a busy fishing community. The National Trust has completely reconstructed and restored the village, and all the houses are now occupied.
It's lovely here in Kearney Village, and if the truth be known, if I had come by car, I would have never come this route.
And from here, there are great views out to sea towards Scotland and the Isle of Man.
We're heading up the Ards Peninsula, but instead of taking the busy roads, Hugo here is taking us off the beaten track.
And indeed, Tommy.
There we are, Hugo. Thank you very much for that. It was great fun.
No problem. Well, I'm sorry we didn't get the weather we were expecting, but maybe next time if you get out again, we'll get a bit of a better day and get to see a bit more of County Down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was a bit worried about my lack of cycling experience, but I think I enjoyed it all the same, and I'll definitely come and do it again.
Perfect. That's great news. Thank you, Tommy.
Cheers.
Thank you very
Good
much.
man. Thank you.